The first video showed you a typical linear regression channel movement. This video is going to show you something not as typical. This is where we have a linear regression expansion. Now, by that I mean the expansion refers to the notion that we start off with a very narrow linear regression channel. Okay, so the price action has come in, they had a nice bull run or bear run, doesn't really matter. But the point is, it could be coming in from there or there, doesn't really matter. But the point is that this, this here is narrow, and therefore, when we get a new linear regression channel forming, it's going to be pretty easy to break out of that narrow band because it's so narrow. But sometimes what happens is it breaks out just briefly, and the price action will be like this, very narrow, and then just go like that and come back in. Now, when that happens, the linear regression will take into account that price action and will therefore expand, as is the case here, the width of the channel. Okay, that makes that clear. And when that happens, what happens is we're going to extend from a narrow channel like this to a wider channel. The criteria for that are very simple. It's actually best explained by dividing this into three case scenarios: 1, 2, and 3. 1 is a broadening LR channel that is rising like this. There. This one is not valid, and this one is falling. Okay, so let's start with number 1. Okay, so we're going to start with the first one, which is this one over here. Okay, now I want to try and draw in here. I don't know if this is going to allow me to draw. I don't think it does. So I'll just get back to what it was. But there, okay, so we've highlighted it, and what I'm going to focus on is just this area here. And we want to pay attention to the mid level. And the idea is that the second mid, this is your second channel right there, the second mid is above the upper band of the first. Again, I'm going to repeat that. The second mid is above the upper band of the first. Essentially, that means that the STX, the linear regression channel, has moved enough to be substantial. Moving on to the second band, second option, this mid hasn't really moved much at all. Here it is over here. Right. Here it is over here. And it hasn't moved at all. It's still in between the channel, and the outer bands have done much either. They're still slightly, they're just wider, and that becomes noise. So I ignore that. That is an invalid LR channel, linear regression channel. The third one, the mid of this regression channel is below the midpoint here. Sorry, below the upper point. My apologies. The midpoint is confusing. The midpoint is below, thereby validating, and there you have a wider linear regression than we started out with. So that's pretty straightforward. I want to draw your attention to this note over here. I'm not doing that. To this note over here. Okay. What it reads is that the second linear regression channel, which is this one, notice the lower band is below the first channel's mid. And normally that would otherwise invalidate the LR channel like the previous video. However, because the second channel's mid-level is above the first station's LR channel's upper band, that now validates it. So that's typical of when you have narrow broadbands. So that's this example, and I think that about covers it.